Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Hello there, everyone. So, I had a headache this morning, and while it's mostly gone thanks to the wonders of coffee, I, in fact, forgot to unmute my microphone. So, welcome to Midday Map Making. I am Bran, Bean, Kathakaros. This is Worlds and Crafts Midday Maps, where we work on the visual portion of the setting that we have been building every Wednesday. So to start out with today, I had been working on the planes over here, using our lovely map-making program Incarnate, which I put into chat. I highly recommend checking it out, and if you're not certainly sold on it yet, you can view it here and all of its capabilities. I wanted to finish the planes today. I got some work done on them, kind of got it set up so that we can just do some brushwork, finish those up. But otherwise, I was saying while I was muted, and hello, Occultist Anonymous, I was saying that I wanted to come up with a name for this world because I think it needs one. I think we've reached the point where we have enough content that we need kind of a name, an overarching thing. So I decided to look up like the etymology of wonder, because this world is about recovering magic, right? About finding the lost magic. So I thought wonder was a good synonym for magical things, mysticism in a more real, tangible sense. That is the things that we feel are wonderful in the world, wondrous. Also, apologies about the gray square in the map. I don't know what that is. It's not appearing in my overlay on OBS nor on my screen. It's just on Twitch, and I don't know what. So maybe I can figure that out, but at the moment, it is a peculiar thing indeed. In any scenario. Yeah, so I was thinking wonder would be a good place to start, and I looked up the etymology of it, and apparently it's Germanic Old English, Wundor, Wundrian, or Dutch, wonder, or German, Wunder. So they're all the same, more or less. Oh, that's the CC. Right, right, right. That makes sense. Okay. Thank you, Occultist Anonymous, for teaching me about the thing I've been using for the past 8 months. By the way, how are you doing today? The other word I wanted to include in the name is healing, I think. That'd be a good one. Heal and wonder. Ah, fair enough. Well, I welcome the lurk. Thursdays are all about relaxation after all, so we're just here to chill and talk and make pretty things. Or try and make pretty things. Alright, so if we take the word wonder, uh, look up the etymology of the word healing. Heal. Ah! I keep choosing words that have Old English and Dutch and German roots. How do you pronounce that? It's an AE, like in Scandinavian alphabet, but it has a line over it. That Helen, Old English, Dutch Helen, German Heilen, and English apparently whole. So healing is to make whole, end. Look at the etymology for mend. Apparently, it's Old English amend. which is from emendare, Latin. Which is menda, a fault. Interesting. So Latin is apparently the word mend comes from a fault, a fault of some sort. Menda. So take something out of a faulty place is emendare, or late Middle English amend. So we've just shortened it to mend, which brings it back to broken. All right, my head hurts. I love language. It's very peculiar. It's among many of the things that I enjoy about creating worlds, is it's so interdisciplinary. You benefit from literally any form of knowledge you have, whether it's geology, linguistics, sociology, astronomy, like you name it, and you can apply it to world building, and that's what I adore about this process. Okay, maybe take women. The funny thing about doing this is sometimes finding two words means you just accidentally make a modern word, and that's fun. Hmm. I'm gonna go ahead and off screen again use translate, because translate or mixing up words. Initially, I think we were using Amharic, some Arabic. Let's use let's see what Amharic gives us for some naming convention. Alright, I can't do the naming thing right now, so I'm gonna skip it, hold on to this. Trying to come up with something involving wonder, but I think it's time to just continue map making. So, for anyone who's newly joining us, anytime you place a stamp, which is any of these objects here, like I could place a bush, but I'm not going to place another bush, you then want to take a dark color, which we've been using this land brown 1, this dark brown, to kind of shadow underneath all of these, act as emphasis, contrast, even though this isn't where actual shadows fall, and there are shadows included in these stamps. We're not actually going for shadow, we're just going for contrast, for emphasis. But now that I've done that, I'm just going to take my grass green here, grass 1. I'll do the land yellow first. Yeah, we'll do land yellow. We'll start light. So I'm going to take the land yellow and I'm just going to... That's too small. Make this larger. I'm going to... something that's wonderful about Incarnate is I can use the W and S keys to change the size of my brush. Which is wonderful. So now I'm going to make some kind of... I'll call them incongruous strokes. With this, where I have the opacity turned down to about 70, so I'm going to turn it down to probably 60%, 0.6, with the softness all the way up so that it's on a hard edge. It's a soft edge, using a circle shape, and I'm going to go in and turn this drab brown into a more yellow that's more appropriate to plains, grasses. And we'll add some more colors in there as well to make it pop up. And it's okay to overlap work you've already done because it still adds depth. Definitely does. Thankfully, because this is digital, it doesn't matter exactly if your work is exactly as it would be in other scenarios. For example, using other mediums, you would probably want to layer up from dark to light or from light to dark. It really depends on your medium, I guess. But well, anyone who's done digital art would know that it doesn't really matter quite so much here. You can always change. And in some of these areas, I'm not really touching the actual dark spots beneath the plants. I'm just kind of painting around them, but to give a general tone of that yellow to our landscape. You will also notice that there's quite a bit of dark green around the rivers here, and that was because we had previously established that this is kind of a Nile-like scenario where the river itself provides a lot of very vibrant green life, but it's otherwise quite dry. The land is supplied in a big way by this river, because while it's in a rain shadow, the mountains to the north capture what rain there is, and it comes flowing back down south. I'm going to raise up my size on my brush a bit more, just because we're in an area with few other objects. So I'll just make very broad strokes. I switched from the green to a very light, very bright desert color, very, very light, like bleached bone almost, just because I wanted to make enough contrast for it to be meaningful, showing that it is more like an ocean shore, because this is in fact an ocean bay. Something else that we decided this last night, was that the waters of this region are quite warm, which is why it's a warmer temperate region rather than a cooler temperate region. It already looks a million times better with the yellow. And I guess we can go ahead and also fill in some yellow on the island here, even though we're going to be covering it in a city at some point. All right, so now I'm going to take Yeah, I'll take our grass 1. And I'm going to lower the opacity down a little bit more, probably closer to 45. 0.43, I suppose. And, you know, keyboard shortcuts are the key to a happy life. So in this scenario, all I have to do is hold the spacebar, and it turns on my pan and zoom key, or pan and zoom function, so I can use my mouse wheel to zoom back in, and I can also drag the map around while holding spacebar. What to do is let go. Shrink back down my, shrink this back down a bit, and taking my grass 1, I'm gonna start to expand the green areas near the rivers. You can't really see, but my wife is behind.
I do now.
Yeah, you do
Hi.
appear. Yeah, we're just gonna expand this lovely area around around the trees. You know, to imply that there is more greenery. We don't want it to just all be one color. We want it to blend. We want it to have variance, because the earth is not one color. Shocking, I know. And something I am doing as well with this is I am kind of just clicking. I'm not dragging my mouse in single long strokes. I am just clicking along to make it so that there's variance with the brush. I'm gonna have to do something about how dark those banks are, but for the moment, this will do. And I'm gonna add some green to the rest of the area too, to the rest of the field, the rest of this plane, but in much sparser content. I want it to, you know, not be the same color. And once we've done that, we'll zoom back out and see what it looks like from far away. Sometimes when you're close up, it looks great, and then when you zoom out, you're like, oh, I can't actually tell a goddamn thing from that. And with that, let's go ahead and ensure that anyone watching knows that all streams by Gehenna Gaming should be considered R-rated. As, well, started off as a horror gaming company, and for the most part, we don't really censor ourselves too much. We try to be professional, but, you know. Okay. I'm going to add some more grass spots all around. Whoopsie, wrong tool. Brush tool. I still haven't gotten used to all the shortcuts here in Incarnate, and there's a lot of them. Like B is the brush key. You know, and it's pretty wonderful, to be frank. I adore keyboard shortcuts, but it's been a while since I lived inside a program so often that I needed to memorize them. Something I will say about Incarnate is, because it is web-based, if you move too quickly, sometimes it'll act in ways that are unexpected because of latency. So you'll click your brush and you'll move your mouse and it'll create a line because it thinks that you made a line, trying to be predictive. That's very smart of it, but not always what you want. So make sure to not go too quickly. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this yellow once more, and I'm going to increase the opacity. Sorry, whoopsie. Going to increase the opacity so that it's much, quite a bit more noticeable. And I'm just gonna go back in here and go back around some of these darker patches. I want it to be very bright. I want it to be, very yellow. And I do recommend saving your work frequently, just because if your tab crashes for some reason, you definitely don't want to lose your work. Okay. So back we go. All right, back out. I think up over here, I want a little bit more bright patches. And what I'm doing over here is, even though the opacity is turned all the way up, because of the softness, if I hold the mouse very still and I just click once, it can really reduce an existing texture or existing brush mark in a big way. And we can go back in and fix some of these and add some more. But you know, this can really boost your blending by just clicking once, because it adds quite a bit of variance. I'm going to do that along the side of the river with all these very dark patches because they look too stark. I want them to be significantly lighter, but still have that bright or that darkness. Still have that color. I'm gonna fill in the island here a bit. I don't want to do that too much over here because I already did my my grass lines, very bright grass lines. I don't want to ruin those. That would be a tragedy. All right. That's looking pretty good. So I think the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Desert 1 color, which is significantly darker than the Shoreline color. And in places where there's a lot of wide open spaces, I'm just going to click. Because this is a dry grassland, there's bound to be some sandy patches here. Even if not very many, they can certainly exist. So there's no reason to not include it, and it won't really detract from the whole of the piece. I think it adds an element. Okay, so I think last color before anything else is gonna take that dark color one more time. I'm gonna go quite small. I'm gonna go 0.7. I'm just gonna go in and ensure that we have enough contrast that our stamps our objects are very visible, that they will stand out. So anything I might have accidentally overlapped with a brighter color, now we're just going to go in and fix. That was mostly just the forest line there, those lovely trees. So this is where it gets interesting. I'm going to take land white 1 or land white 2, and I'm going to shrink down to the smallest possible size I can for a brush. Yeah, we'll just work on the side of the river and then we'll continue. Now that I've got this little tiny white line, I'm gonna tap along. I'm gonna make waves, but we want them to all be facing the same direction. We're gonna be facing that direction. Actually, I just realized I created a problem for myself. We decided that the weather patterns don't move that way. I've made a fool of myself. Like I'll have to start over. Alright, here we go. So, fix this. I'm going to take land yellow 1. Raise up my size here, and I'm just going to cruise on over the top of this. I need my opacity all the way up, so that way I just erase this. Okay. We'll fix these spots later, afterwards, but for the moment, let's focus over here. So all weather patterns in this area tend to move from the southeast or from the southwest to the northeast, at least perspective-wise. So, back to land 2, and a very small size, and a 0.75 opacity. So, this is all quite bright right now, and it's going to look silly, but it'll look better in a bit. So I'm just clicking kind of rapidly along, making little waves, little wave crests, like the tops of the waves of grass. And I'm making sure to not make straight lines. You know, you can see that they're quite curved because, well, why wouldn't they be? Of course, the wind doesn't always go the exact same direction, it just goes in the same general direction. It does shift and move, beating up against its own currents, its own air pressure. And again, I'm moving quite slowly, not going too quickly. I'm not going as quickly as I could with a visual processor on my own computer, web-based. Of course, that reduces. Oh, or excuse me. This is this is an easy program to access, quite accessible for anyone. And the base version is free, and that includes a lot of stuff. So you're capable of quite a lot with this. So grab that one more time. I just had to save my changes. Continue making little dots and lines. Lines of little dots. Tops of grass waving in the sunlight. It doesn't have to be very long lines. Some of them are. Short lines are just as good as well. I want a variety. And even though they're quite bright and you know, might look a little obtrusive, you can already get that sense, these waves of grass. And we'll add some more depth to them in a moment. But right now we just need that highlight. Just need that bright patch. Whoopsie. There we go, about going too fast. You see those lines right there. Looks like little pen strokes. Just gonna undo that. So it was intended to be some dots, was not some dots. Really nice out today up here in the American Northeast. But unfortunately, we have a significant amount of construction going on outside, so I can't have my window open while streaming. Or frankly, most of the time, just because, well, no one likes listening to the backup alarms of trucks and such. Granted, I suppose if you live in the city, you're used to it, but I live in the countryside. I'm used to the sounds of birds, mostly. I need to turn on Some background stuff. So there's something that I use quite frequently in my streams, and it is called My Noise. And I think right now I'm going to go ahead look for Meadowland. That's what I want. And I'll post a link to it for you guys. So My Noise is another thing that's free that you can use, but also um, you can excuse me, support it with a donation, and it gives you more complete access to everything. Very soothing, lovely sounds that can be used for all kinds of things. I use them for study, I use them for sleep, I use them for writing, I use them for streaming. Anything that I need to focus on that is on the more mentally stimulating level, but I still need background noise sometimes. Can't do things in silence. My brain won't allow it. Okay. Let's see how this looks. Not horrific. Okay, let's just make it a little bit better. So now that we've done that lovely initial thing, I'm going to raise the size of this ever so slightly. And let's choose our land yellow color. I'm going to lower the opacity down to probably 50%. And I'll keep the softness up. I'm just going to hit these lovely things. Not what I want at all. Maybe I want the opacity higher. Yeah, we'll raise the opacity. There we go. We're just looking to soften this up a bit while keeping some of those bright peaks. So I'm just going to trace around these lines. Just right over the bottom of them. Or right over the top of them, really. We want the reflections there, but we want that bright color right behind them. And this land yellow is perfect for that. Now it gives it a more blurred look, like it's, well, like it's far away. We have made a lot of changes though, so I'm going to save those. And I'm going to keep on adding some yellow. Just make these waves in the grass. Even though I use my Twitter for mostly for tabletop related things, I did recently join in on that lovely trend of No Comrade Left Behind. And apparently that side of Twitter likes me significantly better. Because it's not viral by any means, but I got something like 357 likes on something I said in response to one of their tweets, and that's a first for me. I'm not very good at this whole social media thing. Too wordy. And it might also be some other things. I'm probably a little too combative. It's funny, because ultimately at the end of the day, I kind of just want everyone to be able to experience some peace. What I want out of life. Everyone to be able to have access to peace of mind, to safety, to security, to love. Everyone deserves that. Okay, we're just about halfway done with these grasses. We'll be moving on to the next section soon. What do you think this grassland needs? Is there anything that it's missing? This is a setting, intended for realistically playing a game in, so you think of gaming and grasslands. What do you think is a necessary element that we have missed? Is there something? Or maybe you just like it the way it is, and that's fair. But in Worlds and Crafts, your input is ultimately what I'm here for. I could do this on my own very easily, but that would not be as fun. So, as always, input is welcome. Criticism is welcome. Criticize me, internet. I give myself tendonitis in my pointer finger if I do this too long. Need an ergonomic mouse. Something I don't have. Something else that we're doing, which I'm sure you've been able to pick up on, but I'm going to say anyway, is with this other color, we're not merely just breaking up the brightness and muting it and making it appear more, make it have a little more depth. We are also breaking up the straight lines. We're making it slightly more incongruous. By taking a straight line and adding dark patches to it, slightly darker, we're adding the illusion of shape. You can make a straight line appear curved by adding shadow in the right spaces. It just looks like it's curved away from you rather than curved in a method that you can see the curvature of. It is implied. Looks like we have shorter grasses and taller grasses. So sometimes on these lines I'm doing little zigzags, as you might be able to see. Clicking quite rapidly, doing tiny little slow zigzags. Because you can't hear the clicking, I'll just tell you it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But that already looks quite a bit better, I think. And obviously these are going the wrong direction, so we need to fix this. Big sigh. Alright. Well, we already got our land yellow, so just go in and start erasing erasing the primary elements of our lines. It's okay if there's some left over. Those will just become part of the noise of the piece. App. Can't see her. Lovely Mona Lisa, our husky. Visit and say hi. Oh, you can still see those quite strongly, just only from far away, so. That's not so bad. Alright. So we're gonna repeat our process, making some waves in the grass. This time though, going direction. Try and add some close to the river shores as well. I think ultimately what happened is I probably added too many waves on that side. Made it look a little too crammed. Maybe we can go back in and remove some of those. Give ourselves a bit more variation. Because of the trees here, I don't think I'm going to add terribly much. I might add a couple dots. But I think that the wind would be significantly reduced because there's not these large open areas. Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. Alright, so let's grab our land yellow one more time, but this time I'm gonna just bring it up one more time because I want to erase some of these. Bring it up in size. I'm going to take out some of the waves. Even if not completely, and that's okay. Got a little bit of wave happy, you know? Just a little too intense. I think those two next to each other are okay, even if they're a little close. But then let's go up here and let's remove some of the, like this one, and this one. And this one. We'll just remove part of this one. Got little corners of it. Shrink them down a little bit. Those two. Keep on switching tools even though I can hold space. Remember your shortcuts! Might have to go back in and add one right there. Yeah. God, I got really wave happy. Bran is sleepy. Okay, I think those ones are alright. Yeah, so we have very little fixing work to do remaining. I think we should just fix a little bit right around here. I'm gonna shrink my size back down. And I'm probably just gonna add a wave right here. All that good. Fix a couple of these. Alright, I think that's fine and dandy. So now that we've added our beautiful reflections for our waves of grass, I think I'll skip the finishing work for now of the bright yellow. And just kind of fill in some more land space over here. Grab our land yellow and make it a little larger. And lower the opacity. I gotta say, the UI development for Incarnate is really, really good. For those who can type intuitively, you'll be quite happy to know that Incarnate's so S and W is the size of your brush, and then D and E is the opacity of your brush, which you can see moving right up here, and then A and Q are the softness. So you just can use your 3 fingers on basically your on QWERTY almost, and WASD. You can utilize your gaming skills. Quite nice. I'm just going over here and adding some yellow. Adding some land yellow, making it a bit more blended. It's also okay to add color in the midst of dark patches. It makes it mottled because, well, the earth is mottled. But I think that up here we would also have a little bit of greenery along these streams. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of green. I'm taking this this grass green one, changing up around the river. Just kind of, again, tap, 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 click, click, click. Around these streams and brooks. I think I'm going to add a little bit more green around here as well. Okay. We've added quite a lot of color to this section of the map. I'm personally loving. But it is about 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, so let's go ahead and admire the work we've done. Take a quick break. I will see you all in just a couple minutes. Feel free to, during the break, if you're not going anywhere, follow us on social media. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You can also give us a follow here if you like what we're doing. We do a lot of different streams all throughout the week. And again, we are using Incarnate, so check out what we have there. If you're not a member of our Discord, you should definitely join it because we're all very friendly people. Excellent community we have there. But otherwise, as I said, we are going to take a quick break. Stretch your legs, get some water, grab a snack, and we will be back momentarily. But as always, Black Lives Matter, folks. Don't ever forget it. And with that, we are back. I got some water, stretched my legs, and I am good to go. Now, I'm looking at this section of the map over here, and it does feel a little sad and blank. Maybe later on we can add something over there, make it interesting. So, we have directions we could go with this. We have our lovely lighted forest over here, which I realize we have to fix. We have to fix it because I gotta select all and unlock my layers because we have to add another mountain in here. It was decided on a previous stream that this would be a horseshoe-like mountain range. So we gotta fix that. Something that's fun about Incarnate is if you select a stamp that's already been added, and then you go ahead and hit the stamp tool, it'll bring up the stamp you already select. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put this here. We'll put another one. Let's raise the size of it. So just like with the brush tool, I can raise the size of the stamp with W and S, and that's what I'm doing. Bring it up to 100. Drop that there. That looks pretty neato. Not entirely certain. Good enough. So let's add one more. All right, that bad boy is a little too far in the background. So let's drag it up here. Looks good. Like that. We've got a little low section of mountain there. Got one problem. This one needs to be scooted over. All right. So I'm going to do something that's going to make me probably hate myself. I'm going to get all of my deciduous trees. So I'm going to search for deciduous. I'm going to select all 133 matching deciduous trees. And I'm going to delete them. Because we have to amend our area, and it'll be easier to just move them out of the way completely. So let's leave that as it is for a moment, because we did add something else yesterday. We added a scale. Determined that this is about 35 kilometers. So I'm going to copy this, duplicate it, and I'm going to hold shift and use arrow keys to move it around. Because we had decided that the distance between the village and the city was about 35 kilometers. So let's shrink that ever so slightly. Shrink that down. That'll do. Okay. We'll call that 35 kilometers. Bring that back to roughly level. Zoom back out. Drag this down. Delete that one. This under here. Okay. So if that is 35 kilometers, and that's about a day's travel, I mean, that's ultimately what you can travel in a day, is about 35 kilometers. If you're a practice walker, taking breaks, walking at an even pace. Then that means the implication is, let's just, here, not really cheating, I guess, but let's make a measure across our whole land. All we have to do is really measure about halfway, and we can estimate the size. That's roughly half, and then we've got some gaps. So that's 1, 2, 4. That implies to me that can't do basic things right now. So it's roughly 280 kilometers across at this current scale. So the reason why I am, bringing that up is because obviously the map could be representational, could be somewhat inaccurate. But that makes it, 8 days travel across the whole map, a week? Which I think is fine for a lone little region. Also fine for a setting, realistically. A week of overland travel is quite a while. But I would like, I think, it to be somewhat larger. So I think what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start amending this map based on that concept, based on that scale. I do want it to be larger. I do want it to be bigger. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna also take all of our town stamps. I'm just gonna delete those. We had the representational stuff. Definitely don't need that anymore. Select all, delete. We can also delete our walls. Oopsie. Oh, crud. I messed up. Hit F11. There we go. Tower. I don't want to delete my watchtowers. We're gonna just deselect our watchtowers from this. And we can go in and delete the remaining objects. It was a very pretty area, but not exactly what I wanted. Okay. And we can fix the map texture later, but if we need to resize some things, well, we're gonna have to, work with what we got. So, I'm fine with this this section of cliff being the size it is. But I'm wondering if maybe we shrink this down. Shrink this down as well. Bring it in a little bit. And rotate, not rotate that actually. Yeah, we can just do this. That's a very large section of cliff I set up there. All right. So what I'm going to start doing for the moment is I'm going to use some placeholders. Not compasses. I want... Decorations are useful. Frames. Titles. Look at icon. Icons will do. Yeah, we'll use some icons for now. Just to make our lives ultimately simple. We'll put this little capital icon right there. Not really a capital, but that's all right. This down here. Suppose better yet, down here. Yeah, I like that. But okay. So it's about a day's travel up this area. And that could be fun and cool. This could be the port town for this lovely place. Even though, you know, there are lots of things in the rock. All right, so still roughly I think 35 kilometers though. Why don't we delete that? Let's grab a different stamp. Cliffs. Search all styles. We do want these. I think what I want is this type. I'm just gonna rotate it. That's not really gonna work. Grab a different stamp. I want to use this one. Rotate that. I'm gonna shrink it and raise it back up a bit. Getting some fun stuff with our overlapping stamps here. I think I need to make this multiple stamps. It's not really working out right now with this way, so we're gonna have to make a second one. About nope. Okay. I think that works. If it's a little funky, works out just fine. Let's drink this bad boy. There. Sorry, I'm being a perfectionist, moving things around all over the place. So let's select our watchtowers and let's shrink them bad boys down. We have size 10 using using the S key. And I think that'll do for now. Now the implication is that this route up here, that this route is about 35 kilometers. Okay. Do. Make this size 100. Size regular. Alright, so what, 35 kilometers. We'll call this one 50 kilometers. Alright. That makes our land significantly larger, but not by a ton exactly. You know, that being 50 kilometers makes this what? 400 kilometers across? Something like that? Get some maps real quick, do a quick comparison. Yeah, that's quite a ways. I would say 400 kilometers is fine. Fine and dandy. That'll work. Pretty big area, so. Okay. Perfect. So now that we've set up that scale, I don't think we really need to change much else, you know? Just that the two locations we had already placed, we haven't placed any other objects exactly, and everything, again, is kind of representational. So I just wanted to set up that scale, get that part out of the way, so to speak, and it is. So we'll leave that down in the lower left-hand corner. For a hot second here. Ifin. We apparently cannot transform that. Alright, delete. Why don't we go ahead and scale, is that what it's called? Yeah, it is a scale. Let's grab some borders. Borders. Wow. Border. Frame, that's what it's called. Loading, please wait. Oh, that's fun. Alright, we're not actually gonna deal with that right now. But what we are gonna do is we're gonna fix the dang forest. Move that mountain. Move this one. Move this one as well. This one as well. Alright, so because of the way we're futzing around with all this. Excuse me. I'm gonna have to erase. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Gonna have to fix these streams because now they're not exactly gonna be running off the mountains correctly because we're adding new mountains. Let's erase that portion of that. Take this big mountain. I'm gonna bring it up a layer because I want it to be in front of everything. But I'm gonna overlap it over this one. Maybe I shouldn't have brought it up a layer. Alright, well, I guess we'll bring up this one a layer as well. Probably take this small one. Maybe not. Take this rather large one, all super layer. We'll put it right here. And what we'll end up having to do is have to move some things. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my mountains. I'm going to select all of them. And then I'm going to... Oh, I can't lock all. I keep forgetting about that. Super annoying. Alright, we're going to individually lock all of our green mountains. Now that we've placed them. Alright. Perfect. Okay. So now that we've locked all these mountains, they can't go nowhere. I'm going to select the objects in and around here, and I'm just going to skedaddle those a little bit. I don't want them being hidden. Click away. Shouldn't have locked that mountain, but that's okay. I'm going to take this, put that there. Here. Put you here. You can stay there. Push. 3. We can put a lot of these back closer to where they were. It's just that kind of need to do a little bit of rearranging. I actually kind of think the rest of that's fine and dandy. We're just gonna need to maneuver some things. Why don't we add a bush over here? We'll shrink it down. The lovely little copse of trees can live there. That doesn't too negatively impact anything. So now that we've done some alterations, though, we need to fix our landmass because we screwed it up. I'm gonna shrink this way down, probably about there, and I'm just gonna start filling this in. Cool. I'm gonna erase that little runoff. And I'll switch back to the chunky shape here. Make sure we're doing things right. Boop. But one thing you gotta do if you're using the circle to add landmass is you really gotta subtract. Really gotta zoom in and subtract and fix your shorelines because they're gonna look like crap either way. Gonna futz around with it. So I'm just tapping along the shoreline here, clickety clickety clack. We'll go back in and add as well, shrinking down pretty significantly. But I'm trying to make it so that there's very few prominent curves in unnatural places. Places that it wouldn't farm like that typically. You know, it might, but Up to you. It is your world, after all. Map maker, make me a map. And hello there, Gehenna Gaming. Oh, Ian. How are you doing? Did you rest well? Well, thank you very much, Black Nerum. Good. I'm glad you slept, because you needed it. Yeah, I ended up changing some stuff here. Deleted my forest because I needed to add more mountains. But we'll fix that. That said, though, the most complete portion, in my opinion, looks great. I'm really happy with how the plains came out. And there will be more. And a spot for a city. Do that right now, actually. City. You can just use this for now. These are all placeholders. Yes, so there is a huge forest in this setting that is all in this basin here. I just ended up deleting it because I had to alter the land masses, and it's really hard to do with a bunch of tiny trees. So there's a huge forest in here. You know, somewhere in and around, I don't know, like 200 more square kilometers. Yes, I am deforesting. But we're going to reforest, so it's okay. Before I do that, though, I need to fix my streams. So, gonna do a thingy. Okay. Let's fix that damn thing right there. Dang out thing. And how are you today, by the way, Black Nerium? Cancel. Do not leave sight. No, that would be bad. I am in the middle of stream. Haha. I'm making streams on stream. Kill me. Okay. Don't really need this here. This was just names. Naming conventions. There is also a fun way to make it curved. Oh god, that's far too curvy. Also increase the space. Yes. Ever so slow. And I'm gonna add a shadow. I'm gonna add a white shadow. How do I make the shadow bigger? I forget. The prophecy has been fulfilled! Hello there, Babacus. As Black Nerium so aptly pointed out, I have committed a terrible, terrible thing. I deforested my map. But we're gonna fix that. We're gonna fix that. We're gonna add some deciduous trees. Then again, actually, maybe we should add jungle trees. Jungle! God, why are my fingers so off of keys? Jungle trees, jungle trees. Probably. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to save my changes real fast before I do anything else. But I'm going to go and add plenty of trees here in this forest. Got about half an hour left of stream, so let's make it very treeful. Before I do that, though, check the size on all the other trees. So that's size 14. So let's make sure we're at the right size. We are. All right. I like to try and use similar sizes. Then again, those are savanna trees. Make these big. Make these size 20. So what I'm going to be doing here... Oh, son of a biscuit. Tragedy incarnate. Alright. I have a lair problem. So I need to... so I need to go and select my green mountains. And unlock them. Lock my green mountains, delete that one, the oceanic thing. Select all of these, and then I need to I'm gonna hold control, I'm gonna bring them down to layer 1, because they were on layer 2, and that was causing me problems. So now that all the mountains are placed, I'll uniformly bring them down a layer. But now I'm going to place some jungle trees, and of course the sizing's all screwed up, so size 20. I said 20. 20. Thank you. Now we can actually place some trees. Let's zoom the heck in and begin placement. So the reason why I wanted this lovely I think jungle trees aren't the ones I want. I guess I'll go ahead and use deciduous. But the reason why I want them on the correct layer is otherwise I get some very funky overlap. I'm doing okay. My head hurts something awful today. Well, but it's the overcast, the weather. It always gives me funny headaches. But yeah, so for those who have never seen me work on maps before, what we're doing is like making strokes of the paintbrush. I am just kind of dragging along in little bursts here, creating kind of cells of trees. You don't want the trees to be too dense everywhere. You want some variation, otherwise it looks weird. We want the implication of gaps. Hydrate. So that's what I'm gonna do. Gaps and overlapping. Thank you. Yeah, I've been drinking quite a bit of water. I also drink quite a bit of coffee. At the moment, I'm just reforest. I'm currently listening to my noise. A lovely, Actually, I was working on the plains, so I was listening to the meadowlands, but now I'm working on a forest, so I want to listen to Primeval Forest. So I'll post a link to that for you guys in the chat. If you want to listen along, it's a soothing little sound generator. We've got our big mama tree in the middle. Because what fantasy forest is complete without a mother tree? It's going to take me a bit to reforest this. But I suppose this is a lesson. There's a lesson in this. The lesson is it is easier to destroy than it is to create. No, don't roll your eyes at me. How dare you? We go in and do all this foresting. We're gonna have to create some actually, here's a question for everyone. Oh, we certainly were hydrating. I've been hydrating this whole time, but we certainly are hydrating. So, question for everyone. What else should be in this forest? We've got this interesting little tree, but the lighted forest is an area that is difficult to build things like cities in. And so it is a refuge for spirits, things that are escaping the waning world. Who cares if it's cheating? It's fun. So what other interesting landmarks and objects would be in the woods? A mysterious obelisk. That's always fun. Sure, why not? Let's add one. Is there an obelisk? Oh my god, there is. Granite obelisk. What about tower? That's what we need is let's use it. Make it right in the middle of this peninsula. Not really peninsula, but in the middle of this landmass, then we can put trees around it. Tell that I grew up around woods because man, I could just about take a nap right now listening to this primeval forest soundscape. You are not on top of that mountain. Take this mountain and bring it up. Same thing with this one because it's in the foreground. That's better. Oh no, I don't want mountains. Trees. Ah, son of a biscuit. I made a mistake. Let's restore to add one object. So let's restore to update object. Reason why I'm restoring to update object is it was putting things on the wrong layer. These are all on layer 2. Peculiar. Placing things behind them. Working now. Okay. Yeah, it was placing objects behind things, and I really didn't want that. I do want some particularly dense areas of forest. So just kind of click around and add trees on top of trees to make those areas quite dense. But I also want the spaces where you can see the earth. Some variants. Yes, I know I've made a lot of changes. Thank you, Carnate, for reminding me. Trouble with my roller mat. It got caught around the wheel of my chair. Alright, so I think we're going to make a gap where this goes. And a path to it from, say, the south. Sometimes I like to outline where things are before I place the rest. Make it look like it's almost intentional. Or at least like people travel there. Isn't that the fun and confusing part of the woods? The reason why people get lost is our pattern-based minds see intention in everything. But no, just the randomness of the woods, the forest lying. It's not really lying, but rip. I said rip to someone in the grocery store the other day in rural Kentucky, New Hampshire. And they were young. I said that should be like $64, and they're like, "Oh, you gave me 65," and I just went rip. And everyone just kind of turned and looked at me, and I was just like. So I think fun to flank areas along the shoreline, dragging and resizing things. Don't do that. Make so that's on top of everything. Actually see it. That's better. Still think though maybe we should take out some of the trees around it. Make it a little bit more standy outy. Go. What's all this then? Okay, let's add trees along the remainder of this area. Something I like doing is also adding like lines of trees that like go up into the mountain. The implication that forested vales and ravines and the like. And you guys missed it. We were nerding out yesterday. Broken Golem and I were being geology nerds yesterday, talking about talking about basalt and coral. I mean, geology and marine biology nerds. But when am I not a nerd about various kinds of science that you never entirely expect? You'd think that I would know more about botany than I do. Or at least I'd assume that based on shit that I talk about. Speaking of which, I say speaking of which because, uh, fungus support plant life, so it's related to botany, even though it's mycology. Someone I know has been microdosing shroomies. Yes, those shroomies. And apparently they are reporting that their anxiety has disappeared. They just don't feel anxious about, like, things in an inappropriate way anymore. It makes me go, God, when can we study this? When can we finally get the research going on this? In a bigger way, that is. I know that there's some. Not very much. Alright, so because this is a warm-tempered region, something else I'm going to do. I will add some pine trees. Just intermixed with these. Give a little bit of variation in color and texture. Specifically around the mountains, well, pine trees love acidic environments. They also help to create acidic environments. Of course, we can also just add some pines to the forest here and there. Hello there, Alex89. How are you doing today? Work, work, work. That's fair. Well, welcome to our midday maps. Just currently working on a forest, adding some pine trees, because I feel like variation in shape, texture, and everything really makes an area kind of pop. So, doing some of that. Beautiful forests. This area right here, I don't know what it's called exactly. When you're on the beneficial side of a rain shadow, basically like the like Olympic National Forest. Um, but that's kind of what this area is. Uh, Catches a lot of rain, uh, gains a lot of benefit. I'm just kind of adding trees up here in the mountains as well. I do not mind you asking at all. It is a welcome question. We use Incarnate. So Incarnate is a web-based program. So it's cloud-based, and it is free. But also, if you want access to some of their higher quality maps, and more stamp sets, more assets, you can pay $25 a year. It's a phenomenal deal for a very robust program. Why don't I go ahead and show you some more complete areas that we've done, like over here. Ignore the city marker, that's just a placeholder. But like these planes that, we created using just color brushes, stamps, and our mask tool, which allows us to differentiate between the foreground and the background as like physical objects almost. So yeah, that's what we've done so far. The whole of the map that we've got partly done. Unfortunately, you kind of joined right around when we'll be ending here in just a couple minutes, but I don't think we have anything exactly happening at 2, so I might be able to go over by a couple minutes. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ian. I'm really bad at keeping up with schedule changes. Yeah, well, maybe harass him. No, don't do that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we don't have anything going exactly after this, so I might just go over by a couple minutes so I can finish this lovely area. And thank you for that very much, by the way, Black Miriam, for informing me. All right. So now that we've added a whole bunch of trees, it all futzing thing up. All right. Got a whole bunch of trees here. Add some pines. I like that this thing is smart enough that it sees through my my typos. I'm gonna start getting more sparse with trees over here because this isn't exactly on the wrong side of the rain shadow, but there wouldn't be any much runoff getting caught here, just some. In fact, I think I'm gonna take my mask tool and I'm going to just kind of wipe out some of these streams because there wouldn't be enough runoff to make that happen in this area. I might even wipe it out all the way down to about here. And this is about where it starts. So your trees start to become a little more sparse with less significant amounts of water. Some pine trees up in the mountain themselves, catching some runoff from the rain. Otherwise, about it. Alright, so I'm going to take my brush tool, and I'm going to grab a hold of this really bright Desert 2 color, and gonna brush along the shores to you know, sandy beaches. Not very overwhelming in its color, so I'm gonna up my opacity. It was down just so that I wouldn't be creating too stark of a contrast here. But make some shorelines. This is, after all, the ocean. All that intense, all that eroding action would certainly make for actual shorelines. We can always come back in and amend some of this. So just go ahead and go big. And fix the rest later. Sort out the rest in a bit. Even right up in the forest, I'm going to do that. And, you know, that's just to add some variation. But what I will end up doing is we're going to add a lot of earthy shadow. I'm not going to do that in here because this is probably brackish water, and there's going to be less erosion in this inlet, in this bay. And a lot more sediment runoff, so it would be, at least in my mind, you know, as far as I'm aware. But over here, we'll definitely continue the beach pattern for le moment. Really see that shoreline. But go ahead and do this one up here. This section is in the rain shadow, so probably pretty dry. We are over by a couple minutes, but hopefully someone will shout at me if that's a problem. Okay. So now I'm going to take this land brown 1 color with a brush, same size, and I'm just going to go in beneath these trees, start shading them. All I'm really trying to do is just create a significant contrast. I want the tops of these trees and the bodies of these trees to stand out. I want them to pop. So, you know, I'm just going to kind of start drawing lines around and under. Nothing, not filling in like you know, we're painting a wall per se, but you know, that forest loam look. I want it to be dark, even if right next to it is sand. Zoom back in a little bit. I need to start using my keyboard shortcuts more effectively. And it's okay if it also passes outside of the trees, because this is, again, contrast. I want the trees to pop. I want them to kind of stand out. If what's underneath them is too light, it kind of ruins the visual effect you're going for. I want that darkness. Part of the appeal of the forest to me is always that cool dimness. There is light passing through the canopy, but it's always quite dim, shaded. So even our lightest sections, little clearings and such, are still going to be much darker than the rest. else that, and so even with this tree here, this large tree, we want to really outline that with that dark color, but you still get some variance, some lighter color in there. So it doesn't all look like it's exactly the same. But we want the light spots to really have the opportunity to stand out. So there shouldn't be terribly many of them. If there's too many, it just kind of looks like a texture, like spackling. It doesn't draw the eye at all. So what we'll do, because we want to draw the eye to that big tree in the middle there, is we'll add some color around in the earth itself. Moment. Go around and shade underneath. I'm also going to shade around this obelisk, because I do want that to stand out as well. But I'm going to leave as much of the light patch as I can. I'm going to kill off some of that sand, but you still get that light thing on the side, so that's nice. Come on and save. And always save your work frequently whenever you're working in cloud-based anything. If your internet goes out, if your tab crashes, if software you're using crashes, well, you gotta look. I mean, the same thing happens on your own computer, but a lot of programs now have autosave functions built in, but not necessarily with cloud-based. Depends. Incarnate either way does not. So bear that in mind. As you can see, there's already some darker brown in here, but we're just gonna go in, make it a little darker between. Send that down under well. Personally, as I'm doing this, I kind of get that little that kind of giddy, cozy feeling that I get whenever I'm in the woods themselves. Whenever I am, in let's say Western Massachusetts woodlands, find a foundation, an old round stone foundation, in the middle of the woods, overgrown and surrounded by, or filled with fallen pine needles and fallen oak and maple and elm leaves. Have that sticky, sweet, sour smell, opposingly. Just kind of very peaceful, a very happy memory. That's what this makes me think of, is building out this. Looks cozy, safe. Now I'm gonna do the same treatment to these mountains. I want them to be well shaded. Them to stand out as well. Fix up that. That's good. And check these. When it comes down to the planes, I'm just tapping. I'm just clicking my mouse a couple times. I'm not dragging like click, click, click. Get that shading. Stand out a little bit. Okay. Starting to look pretty nice. So I got one more thing we're going to do before we wrap this up. I'm going to take this... let's do grass 1. Grass 1 is a little brighter. Now I'm going to up my opacity. I'm going to shrink my brush pretty significantly, but I'm going to up my opacity all the way. And I'm just going to kind of start tapping in here. Little strips of bright grass. Tapping along. Well, maybe I'll go ahead and lower my opacity after all, just to do some blend. I think opacity is one of the best ways to do blending program personally. There's no real effective smudge tool. You make good use of your of opacities, you'll be fine. Brush a little bit larger. Drag that around. Go ahead and increase my opacity slightly. There. That's quite a bit better. All right, let's give the same treatment over here. Down. Add some green between the shadows. Making it so those bright areas kind of pop. Not just bare life. Okay. I think that looks pretty good for today's work. All right, let's save our changes. Wrap this. Okay. I want to thank you all for joining me this afternoon. It has been a pleasure. Been real quiet, but this is all about relaxation after all. Just taking what we create on Wednesdays and making it more tangible, making it visual. So, for those who might have missed the information, the program we use is Incarnate for this. It is a wonderful map making tool. Robust enough, if not the most robust, but robust enough to accomplish some very great feats of creation that you can actually find more about on YouTube. There's a lot of creators who use Incarnate. It's a great program. I highly recommend it. During these streams, I use mynoise.net to kind of facilitate a more relaxed state of mind because I have very bad ADHD. And otherwise, Worlds and Crafts is a collaborative stream. It is a stream in which we explore the mechanics and metaplots and all of the minutiae involved in setting building. It is a fun creative practice that is intended to be encouraging for those who maybe think for just the briefest moment that they're not capable of this kind of thing. Everyone can make things. Everyone can make settings. Everyone can conceptualize. You like that kind of thing? Welcome here all the time. Bring your friends. Tell your friends. But you can follow Gehenna Gaming on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and of course right here on Twitch. Give us a follow on Twitter specifically if you're looking to see any of our other streams that we do. We do a lot. We do actual plays. We do interviews. We do things like this. And you can follow me on Twitter at Kathakaros. So give me a follow. And I do mostly just retweeting. I don't tweet that much myself, not recently. But you should also give a follow to my lovely wife, Seditious Design. She's an illustrator and absolutely wonderful content, very wholesome. So thank you again for joining me today. Hope you all have a lovely afternoon. And remember, creating is always better with friends.